From Hollywood, time once again for Money TV. I'm Don Baillargeon. Thanks for joining us. Money TV is the program all about money and what makes it happen. In a recent Los Angeles Times article, the California bullet train was reported to be 11 years behind schedule. And it seems all they've accomplished in that time is driving the estimated cost higher and higher. It's now determined that connecting the Bay Area and Los Angeles with high-speed rail is going to cost $100 billion. $100 billion, or about 1,000% higher than we were initially told. Now, I thought it would be interesting to put the number 100 billion in perspective and determine how ridership of the bullet train could pay for it. In other words, can this bullet train business turn a profit? Now, interest payments on $100 billion at 3.6% would cost $10 million per day. Amortizing the repayment of the debt over 30 years would increase those payments to $15 million per day. Now, that cost is before any operating expenses, payroll, insurance, legal, etc. But let's assume the bullet train can be operated for $2 million per day. That brings the daily overhead to $17 million. $17 million per day. Now, on any given day, you can usually buy a nonstop plane ticket between LA and San Francisco for something between $50 and $100. The flight takes about an hour. The bullet train will not be nonstop, and there's no current estimate how long the entire trip will take. But in order to match the low end of the airline's fare schedule, the bullet train would have to sell 340,000 tickets per day, every day, just to break even. Now, with 16 coaches per train carrying a total of 1,250 passengers, that means the train would have to make 272 fully sold out trips per day, again, just to break even. It's impossible to conceive, and it becomes easy to see the California bullet train has no chance in the world of ever paying for itself. The California bullet train is akin to a homeless guy shopping at a Rolls-Royce dealership. It's a noble ambition, but it's way out of reach. Now, here's something that's not out of reach. It's our toll-free number, good from anywhere in the world you're watching the program, 888-259-4449, to get free information about our featured guests. When you do call, be sure and ask to be added to the subscription list of our Money TV newsletter. Once again, 888-259-4449. Visit us at MoneyTV.net. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Well, our first guest joining us in studio, Mr. Xavier Mitchell. Xavier is the CEO of a company called Pure Spectrum Incorporated. PRSU is their stock symbol. Xavier, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me. Great, thank you.
Now, you recently announced that you've acquired all the membership assets of a company called Opportunity Knox Television, or OKTV.
Correct.
Tell us about OKTV.
Well, it's a little complicated in that we never anticipated on getting into the television media business from this perspective. But after a considerable amount of conversation and molding and thinking, we just figured it was time for a company to come around to give opportunities, hence the name Opportunity Knox Television, give opportunities to a lot of people in the business that would not otherwise have those opportunities. For example, you have a 16, 17-year-old kid in high school that can go straight from the basketball court or the baseball field to the pros. Mm-hmm. Well, the same holds true in media, television and film. These kids are so smart now, so talented, so bright, and they're sharp. And with the technology today, these kids are making beautiful films on phones. So, but if a company like us didn't come around, then they would have to wait for decades to get their talent on the big screen or on the television. So, number one, we wanted to be a home for those guys. We wanted to be an outlet for people to be able to show their vision without having to work in the Hollywood system for years and years and years as interns and assistants and associate producers, PAs. And then there's also something called short form content that isn't being fully exploited in a positive way, where you can actually have a really solid 7-minute program and it can sustain itself. So instead of you having to stick in front of a television screen for 22 minutes to watch a half-hour show, well, you could actually have a 13 episode or 15, 16 episode 7-minute series and could still be sustainable. I mean, especially considering the attention span of people these days.
It's amazing. We're very pleased here at Money TV to be one of the programs you're carrying on the network. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Tell us about some of your other content.
Well, our flagship show is called Opportunity Knox, which is another reason why the network was born. Opportunity Knocks is a show that what we do is we get submissions from people across the country who give us people who deserve not only opportunities, but people that have done a lot for their communities and a lot for people in their lives, but they've just gotten overlooked. You might have a single mom, you might have a person who had to drop out of college for various reasons, and as parents, you and I know the sacrifices that we have to do and give for others. So those guys get lost in the shuffle. Well, what the show Opportunity Knocks wants to do is we want to not only acknowledge those people, but we want to find out what that person's passion is, pair them with a person who's called an opportuneur, pair these guys together and see what happens. So we're looking for opportunities, people who actually deserve opportunities, and we're looking for opportuneurs, people who we can match together to provide those opportunities. So that's Opportunity Knocks. The second show, another one of our shows, is called Going Beyond Story, which is hosted by an amazing woman named Dr. Theon Gordon. What she does is she sits with people and talks to them and extracts their stories, their life stories, out of them, and allows them to get their stories either out of their head and either onto the screen or into a book format, or sometimes just out. Because what I found in studies show that when you actually talk about your experiences from the past, it's therapeutic. So it's and the way she does it is it's phenomenal. She's very patient and she's sharp. I'm talking about Dr. Theon. And the way she deals with these clients and her subjects it's beautiful, the connection that she establishes with them.
It's amazing what you folks are doing now. You have a novel approach to television show distribution. I would almost call it a disruptive approach. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah. Here's typically when it comes to television and content providers, you usually have an intermediary that stands between the producers and the content makers and content providers and the network. Well, what we decided to do is we wanted to just remove ourselves from that. So we hold events, and what we do is we'll have the advertisers and the content providers. We'll have them in rooms, or upfronts, if you will. We have upfronts events, and what we'll do is we'll have them just blend together. It's an organic, natural event, and there's no stress, no name tags, so it's just very organic. The advertisers get to talk to the content providers, the talent from the shows are there, and they all get to talk about, number one, how can we, the advertisers will get opportunities to speak with a content provider and say, well, in what capacity, how can we get involved with your show? So we're not cutting the deals, we're just out of the way, and our job is to distribute it on air. That's one of the biggest things that I like to be proud of, is that we're giving now the opportunity for the content provider and the advertisers to talk directly and come up with deals on their own terms without us having any sort of manipulation inside of it.
Now, speaking of events, you've got a big event coming up in October, a celebrity bowling tournament. Tell us about that.
We do. We've teamed with Act Today, and Autism Works, and Boots of Bowling to hold a celebrity bowling tournament October 19th at Corbin Bowl in Tarzana. And we would like you to come and be a bowler. We'd love for you to consider that. So what we're going to do is we're pairing celebrities with, and they get to bowl with fans. Fans get to bowl with the celebrities. Celebrities get to bowl with the fans. Nice. So every lane is going to be headed by a celebrity. And like I said, we're focusing on autism and anti-bullying. We have Shawnee's Wilson. She was a magnificent performer coming. We have Josh Sussman from Glee coming, and some athletes, but it's just going to be a really, really good time. So we're raising money for them as well. You can find everything out at myok.tv. We're
almost out of time, Xavier, but why is this a good time right now if folks take a closer look at your company?
Well, because OKTV is a wholly owned subsidiary of PRSU, Pure Spectrum Inc. Investors who invest now, they get to experience our exponential growth. I mean, we're going on a beautiful ride right now. We're talking to major companies right now about acquisitions that will assist us in enabling our company growth and getting involved in activities and sorts of things that could create a bigger base for our company. And we want to protect our shareholders, and we want them to be excited about what we're doing.
Pure Spectrum Incorporated, PSR, use their ticker symbol. Of course, we've initiated coverage of the company. We're following you very closely over the next several weeks.
Thank you.
Look forward to more interviews with you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kevin Harrington. On Shark Tank, we always look for the next big thing. Today, it's digital currencies like Bitcoin. But everyone wants to know, is it real and how do I get started? Yes, it's real, and the best way to start is setting up your free digital wallet with SinglePoint.com. They make it easy to buy, use, and store digital currencies without banks or debit and credit cards. Use promo code SING for your free wallet and informative newsletter. That's SinglePoint.com.
And I'm joined in studio now by Warren Wang. Warren is the CEO of ChineseInvestors.com Incorporated. Their stock symbol CIIX. Warren, always great to see you.
Hi, Donald. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, but probably not as good as you are. You guys hit a high in your stock price here recently.
Yeah, just the day before yesterday, hit $1 from 50 cents to $1. I love to talk to your audience too, because I watched, read all the message board, what the people talking about, InvestHub, Yahoo Finance. After, a lot of people post a message after see our show. So that's the good news for both of us.
Sure.
I think I'm going to attend a microcap conference next Monday. There's a 2-day conference in New York City. After we post that news, the stock take off.
Wow.
I don't know what's any relate to how, what the people thinking, but I think it's great news for a lot of investors, show a lot of interest because the volume is historic high, 2.35 million shares, about 80 cents a share, which is not bad for OTC bulletin board stock. Yeah, so there's a couple of things. Yesterday, the good news is yesterday I talked to my teams in China. I think we will have a significant great news coming out after Chinese Golden Weeks. I think my goal is spin off the company after January 1st, 2019. And I think, secondly, if you agree or not, I don't know if you agree or not, people say if the company doesn't have $20 million revenue, Wall Street won't take a look seriously. They don't even want to look. They don't even want to touch. So I talked to my team. I said, let's do 10 to 20 million revenue. That's our goal. And then we can ring the bell on NASDAQ. So next year, my goal is hit 10 to 20 million dollars. And then we can list on the NASDAQ and bring tremendous value to our existing shareholder.
Well, one thing I've learned about you, Warren, with the passion that you have for your company, when you set a goal in place, you usually achieve that goal.
Yes, you're right. So we need to say, after my CEO say, Warren, after last time you said our goal is not on the list on the bulletin board, but on the NASDAQ, or lucky, we hit a lot of lotteries because we make a lot of progress and we get a great results from a lot of our trial. I said we need to think about it, quantitative, put into detail. Put a goal from year, months, week, daily. And my goal is next year, bring our Chinese hemp oil to NASDAQ, ring the bell. How we do it, that's we need to figure it out. So I put our goal on my WeChat message board. So that's great thing. Other things, I'm trying to communicate with the shareholder for watch your show. A lot of people excited about we have $3 million, which they feel more safe. Compared to a lot of other companies doesn't have any cash in the bank. We do have it. And secondly, we don't do much toxic financing. A lot of people calling me from Wall Street, from a lot of different places, asking about convertible notes, convertible preferred, and registration offering. Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of stuff. Thirdly, people think we are kind of a little fishy because one investor post on the message board saying, oh, that company is 10 miles from me. They are running 1,500 square feet shop, 15 cubicle in the office. It's like, people say, wow, it's like, it's a tiny company which is trading so much heavy volume. Why? But I just want to clarify that we have a 3 office in that the investor called Food Plaza. We are next to the Hilton Hotel. The reason we have a small office compared to big office because we want to occupy the retail space. So there's a walk-in chance for we approach the people who buying our products. Like we have a hemp oil in Plaza, we have Chinese investors who are selling the subscriptions. We also have two offices on Wall Street, 40 Wall Street on the Trump building, and one office in Flushing. We have an office in Shanghai. We're close to 100 employees, which is making us 500,000 burn rates each month, which is pretty heavy. It's not tiny Mickey Mouse show anymore. So I just want to address that issue. People little concerned say, oh, why the company only have 1,500 square feet? Because we diversify into 3 offices. It's hard because people make a lot of complaining, say your quality of products, it's not that very good because your space so small, but unfortunately that's retail shop. We have 2 offices in New York, 3 offices in LA, 1 office in Vancouver, 1 office in Shanghai, close to 100 employees, close to. So I don't know how many, but we on and go, on and off. That's I want to address the issue to the investor.
Once again, ChineseInvestors.com Incorporated, CIIX, bigger than they look. Warren, thanks so much.
Thank you, Donald. Thank you so much.
Have you heard the news? There's only one flat-fee news distribution network on the market. It's called AccessWire, and it's exclusively from Issuer Direct. Any day, anytime, the AccessWire News Network can deliver your press release to more than 1,500 media outlets in 98 countries. AccessWire also delivers real-time engagement analytics. You will learn who read and shared your press release and more. Best news of all, getting started is easy. Visit accesswire.com and extend your company's news reach today.
Hi, I'm Kevin Harrington. On Shark Tank, we always look for the next big thing. Today, it's digital currencies like Bitcoin. But everyone wants to know, is it real and how do I get started? Yes, it's real, and the best way to start is setting up your free digital wallet with singlepoint.com. They make it easy to buy, use, and store digital currencies without banks or debit and credit cards. Use promo code SING for your free wallet and informative newsletter. That's singlepoint.com.
Well, appropriately enough, our next guest is joining us direct from Phoenix, Mr. Will Ralston. Will is the president of Single Point Incorporated, SING. Will, welcome back to the program.
Thanks again for having me, Don.
Well, we just saw the Kevin Harrington Single Point commercial. Great spot. Congratulations.
Well, it's very exciting for us. We've been working long and hard on getting this spot to air, and it actually started airing this week. The first run was in prime time on Fox News, and we're very excited to start being able to measure some of the response from these commercials.
Well, this is exciting to finally be airing the commercial. Tell us again what you hope to achieve with the campaign.
Well, really, the whole goal here is that we believe we're one of the first companies that has built a Bitcoin wallet and then gone as far as to market on national TV. So we're really looking for building a large user base, and with that large user base, we'll actually be able to push other products and services to and have that to go back to merchants and say, hey, we've got a massive user base, here's the product or service, and here's how we'd like you to utilize it.
Well, Kevin Harrington is well known as an early stage investor in cryptocurrency, so this really is a good pairing, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been a big proponent of cryptocurrencies for quite a while now. He's still traveling all over and attending different conferences within the space. So he's been a great evangelist for us. We have a nice relationship with him, and he's actually introduced us to many deals as well within the space that we're exploring. So we believe that now we've got this first component done and that we're able to actually help people store and transact in Bitcoin. And pretty soon here we'll be adding new features and new tokens that people can store and transact with in our platform.
Well, Will, as we discussed last week, now the app is live and downloadable in the usual places, correct?
Correct. It's available on the iOS Apple Store as well as the Google Play Store.
Any updated news since we last spoke?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've been working on is actually integrating this into the last mile application so that people could actually transact with single coin through the last mile application, and then you've got a fully tracked way of payment through the application. As you know, a lot of the delivery services out there, especially in the cannabis space, are a cash on demand, or cash on delivery, I should say. And we're really looking to help clean up that space in terms of making an easier transaction for both the user as well as the merchant. So that's one of our next big steps forward, is to actually let those two applications be able to talk to each other to create a new payment solution for those users and merchants.
I remember when we filmed that episode in a Los Angeles dispensary, you demonstrated the app back then. Now it's all come to fruition.
It's come to fruition, and now we're looking to build the user base so that we can go back to those merchants and say, hey, we've got users that are storing and transacting in Bitcoin through single coin, and if you go ahead and put our wallet application on your point of sale device, which is easily done because it's simply a progressive web app that will be built, and they'll be able to go ahead and accept that coin at their location.
Once again, Single Point Incorporated, SING. Will, congratulations on all those accomplishments. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks again, Don. Appreciate being on the show, and go sing.
And joining us now in studio are two executives with Origin Clear Incorporated. OCLN is their stock symbol. Of course, on my far left, Mr. Riggs Eichelberry. He's the Dean of Water. He's also the CEO of the company. Riggs, always a pleasure.
As always.
And with us, new guest, Tom Marchicello. You're a strategic advisor with WaterChain. Welcome to the program.
Thanks. Hi. Nice to meet
So
you.
what does a strategic advisor do with WaterChain? Because this is WaterChain to us is fascinating anyway, but tell us how you came involved with it.
Sure. I had a good fintech background, and so Riggs needed a little assistance kind of developing the economic models around cryptocurrencies and blockchain, and I had a long history there, so I was able to guide the development of the project.
It's kind of amazing when you talk to people about blockchain, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, whatever the case may be. Everyone's familiar with the terms, but not many people really know what they are.
Sure, yeah. People mix up cryptocurrency and blockchain like they're interchangeable, but they're just not. You know, the truth of the matter is you can have coins and tokens as cryptocurrencies, which you could use for exchange or payment. And you can have blockchain, which is fundamentally a distributed database. And you don't have to have both in order to do a project, but you can if your project calls for it. So what happens is sometimes these projects basically have sophisticated technology which use a blockchain to help move things around from one point to the other without being centralized. That's where blockchain tech comes in. And coins and currencies are really there as financial mediums of exchange or some kind of currency format. And when you put them together kind of like a sandwich, you end up basically building the fundamental building blocks of something juicy and interesting that you can share with others.
Well, now, Riggs, you've mentioned before that you're using WaterChain as a way to eliminate the drag on the movement of water technology, right?
Well, as I've discussed on this show, there's a whole trend towards decentralization of water treatment, where more and more companies, users are self-reliant for their own water treatment. Now, that is much less, Wall Street knows how to fund billion-dollar projects. But what about the $500,000 projects? That's much harder to finance. And so we're really interested in accelerating the decentralized from, let's say, $10,000 to $1 million project, which is right in the wheelhouse of what our own division, Modular Water, does. So we're very self-interested here.
So WaterChain is the solution to that, Tom?
Yeah, WaterChain basically creates this interesting community of water entrepreneurs and industrial players who basically can now start sourcing water, clean water and reclaimed water from decentralized sources. So people who aren't necessarily on the municipal grid or aren't yet connected in the big infrastructure plays, and you can have smaller plays on the edge. And then WaterChain acts as what we kind of affectionately call a database where you can view all of the different participants on the edge and realize the contributions they can make to sourcing clean water for everybody.
So for smaller operations, this is really the key.
Yeah, it's really an innovation because basically if you're trying to solve big problems, you can do it like with small groups at a time that can all contribute into a bigger pool.
And I'm seeing a logo they just put up on screen says Heavy Crypto. Heavy Crypto seems like a rock album, so to speak. Tell us about Heavy Crypto.
Heavy Crypto. That's kind of what we did, right? Well, we were joking around, I think, but Riggs was really right to say in the heavy industry space, there really isn't a big play there for crypto and blockchain yet. So Riggs and WaterChain is one of the first platforms that's going to address the water utilities industry and water industry, which is a heavy industry. And we're looking at kind of like a beefier, stronger, more infrastructure based play for crypto, and that's what WaterChain gets to do.
Riggs, I can see why you brought this guy with you. He's got all the answers.
He's got answers, and furthermore, he really has pulled the model together in a way that is cryptocurrency native. Because how do you get things financed in cryptocurrency? you've got to make it work. You know, there's nothing worse than a failed cryptocurrency.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
nobody needs
you know,
that.
it's like we gave a party and nobody came.
Right.
Oops. What do we do with all the champagne? So this is a case of you've got to make it work for the industry, and you've got to serve an audience. And we believe that WaterChain is going to be critical to solving water problems by not with massive centralized projects which take forever to build, but 1,000 points of light. Many projects that add up to one big tsunami of water treatment.
Tom, when you're explaining this concept to people, do they seem to get it firsthand, or do they have to go through like 101 and 102, so to speak?
It depends on their experience, obviously. Like, I think folks that have corporate experience or finance experience, they tend to get it pretty quick because they like, okay, you're creating an economy for water and you're creating this banking functionality which is going to fund projects and get them into the market faster. So that makes sense. It's not unlike things they've heard. But for maybe people who are super green on the edge, that are more like on the investor class, and they're trying to kind of figure out, do I invest in cryptocurrencies? They're usually the ones that kind of poke around and try to understand what you're talking about.
Well, let's face it, novice cryptocurrency investors think it all begins and ends with Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's a real shame, actually. You know, Bitcoin's awesome, right? It's a platform, and people misunderstand that. Bitcoin is a network.
Right.
And then BTC, which is a coin that sits on top of the Bitcoin network, is a transactional currency element, right? But, you know, often they'll just interchange the whole topic, and you'll hear the pundits, you know, pushing a bunch of FUD against, you know, Bitcoin. It's terrible, it's going down, or it's going up, and that's about as deep as they get. But what happens is when it sucks up all the air out of the room, Bitcoin becomes the only currency. Nobody ever talks about the other applications and uses of cryptocurrencies or blockchain for industrial uses like this. So you don't get a chance to have a conversation to people. It's kind of weird.
Origin Clear, OCLN is a stock symbol. As I've always said, Riggs, you bring people in here, you in here, always an education.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about the new Pro Football League debuting in the spring on this week's Money Wrap radio program. To find a radio station near you or listen online, go to moneywrap.com. Call us right now, toll free from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449 for free information about our featured guests. When you do call, be sure and ask to be added to the subscription list of our Money TV newsletter. Again, toll free from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449. Visit us at moneytv.net. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. That's our program this week. As always, we'll be back next week. Thanks so much for joining us.